Michael Terry didn't realize how much he needed an escape until he set out on his motorcycle to drive across the country. The endless roads, postcard pictures at every stop. After 23 years serving for Canada, he says seeing it likely saved his life.
To be completely honest, I was a mess. I was really probably on the verge of, I was on the verge of suicide.
Terry believed his PTSD and depression issues were direct results of all he'd seen overseas, not linked to brain trauma. But the more he learned about how brain injuries, in particular chronic traumatic encephalopathy or CTE, can relate to mental health, the more that changed.
It was kind of horrifying to think how many people are potentially affected and don't even know there's, that there could be anything wrong.
Tim Fleizer had a similar awakening. In 2009, the former CFL star began to question how a career of repetitive blows to the head was affecting him. He founded Concussion Legacy Foundation Canada, which studies brain trauma. It's since expanded to include veterans after a U.S. study found 2/3 of the military brains they studied came back positive for, you guessed it, CTE.
The brain is far more fragile than I think we realize, and the prevalence of these issues is far more widespread.
Researchers at Toronto's Centre for Addiction and Mental Health are working to connect the dots between CTE and mental health, but they say they need greater funding from the federal government.
This would really change the way we develop drugs for people who've had traumatic brain injuries.
Until that day, Michael Terry is planning to get back on the road to talk to veterans, one at a time if needed.
We're very actively taught to fight off discomfort, to fight through discomfort. It's a great tool, for being on operations, for being in combat. It's not such a great tool when you're hurting afterwards.
And so many, he says, are hurting in silence when they don't have to. Mike Drolet, Global News, Toronto.